Hi, everybody. I'm intuitive medium Sandy Duncan, sitting with my wonderful friends from Rescue Mediums, Alison Wynne-Ryder, Jackie Dennison, Michael Lamport. Edna will be joining us next time. Please help us welcome our very special guest today, Rhonda Olson. Rhonda, I want to make sure I've got this right. Rhonda was the commissioning broadcaster's production executive for Rescue Mediums. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. That's correct. And you could say development executive as well. W Network. And this morning, Michael, I was trying to figure out how many years ago our first meeting was.
Wow. I don't know. It must have been at least 15.
That's what I calculated. 15, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How did you two come to meet each other, if I may ask?
Well, I started on got hired at the W Network, which was the show that commissioned, which was the network that commissioned Rescue Mediums, and I inherited the crime and paranormal slate. So Michael's show was one of those. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Now, had you had a background or any interest in paranormal before then?
You know, honestly, no, and not crime either. I had to do true crime, and I didn't sleep for soundly for like a year. And then I kind of got used to, how horrible the world is, and because all I watched all day was murder. So Rescue Mediums was very refreshing.
It's fantastic. I've got a couple of questions for you, Rhonda, so we can get a better feeling of how this all went. Right off the bat, how did you enjoy your time at Rescue Mediums?
Oh, one of my favorite shows, hands down. Really, really enjoyed working on it. It's a fun show with a fantastic crew and talent working on it. It was really lovely.
I wonder if not having an interest in paranormal before then was actually an advantage, because everything would have been new to you.
Yeah, I think so. I do think so, because I think I made one good contribution to the show, among many tiny ones, but one significant one. And I think it was because I didn't have any paranormal experience.
You were thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Rhonda, so was I.
She was.
Because I'd never done any spirit rescue work before, had I, Jackie?
No, absolutely not. No.
I know the feeling.
Perfect recipe. What a perfect recipe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was. It worked out really, really wonderful. And Rhonda was a delight as my boss to work with. She was always very supportive. And I don't think we ever had any major... I can't think now. I don't think we ever had any major
No,
disagreements.
it was very easy to work with. So do you want me to tell you about the one thing I think?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Yeah.
The show was, when I got it, it was supposed to be kind of ready. It was ready to go, and the development was kind of supposed to be done. But I was told to have a look at it and give my opinion on it. And I said that that I don't have any feeling for the rescue. We all the first part of it was wonderful. The first 2/3 of the show was wonderful, and then it was and they were rescued. And I was this just feels anticlimactic to me. And so then Michael and Gregory went away, and I don't even know if you were involved in the solution, Jackie. But then they came up with how to dramatize the rescue, and it was wonderful.
I didn't know that.
Ah.
I never knew that. Thank you, Rhonda, for making that suggestion, because that's one of the things that the viewers, they still say to both myself and to Alison, that they love to be able to see what we can see here, how we're we're operating. They like to be able to see that, and it makes such a difference to them because they feel party to what we're thinking and feeling at the time. So yes, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I just got chills when you said that.
Wow.
Yeah, because for me, clearly it was just like, what do you mean they got rescued? I don't understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously the viewers got to understand. So that's
Yeah.
great, isn't it?
Oh no,
Sort of-
when the solution came back, when they came back with the recut, I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I cried.
Wow. Sit there, Rhonda, at that stage. Had the music been decided upon?
You know, that's funny. I don't really remember because all the producers, they put on some temp music until they got their composers all.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So I often look at cuts that has temp music in it. So I don't know, Michael, you could answer that.
Yeah.
Well, Richard Evans, our composer, was with us from the very beginning. So I do think he probably created some temporary music just to use for the rough cuts, so to show you, and then he created the major score afterwards. That's what I think happened.
That music, that gives me chills every time. It's just phenomenal, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, he did an incredible job. Incredible job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Rhonda, I thought it was due to Jackie and Alison why I couldn't get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom after watching the show, but now I understand that was you. Thanks very much. From your broadcaster's point of view, Rhonda, what were the hurdles or some of the hurdles that would have been challenges to put together rescue mediums?
Well, I think that they really, the thing that when the show was first told to me and the tagline, you know, psychics who make house calls, you know, the show was like, anybody could imagine the show right then and there. So, you know, I find it so much easier when everybody knows exactly what the show is. Often in development, you're searching for the show. Like they come in, they say what the show is, but it never becomes that. I think this is one of the few shows that was what it was, right? Like, and that's why. So when you know what it is, you get to make all the elements work. They really can go into play really easily. Once, like I'm saying easily, I'm not on Michael's end, but you're always enhancing rather than searching. So that's why I think this show was work on. Like the hurdles were few as far as I could see. Like that was the big hurdle. I was like, are these guys going to be able to come up with something to fix this? Because my knowledge of it was so not there that I couldn't even imagine it myself, what they could come up with.
Jackie, in your opinion, then, does that mean that your spirit guides talked to Rhonda's spirit guides and made sure everybody was okay?
I'd like to think so. You know, one of the things that I do think my spirit guides had a big hand in, and this is definitely working with Michael's spirit guide, and that is the cheers at the end.
That was the story behind the show, wasn't it? That.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, whose idea was the cheers? Was it yours, Rhonda, or was it Michael and Gregory?
No, I can't take credit for that. I'm pretty sure that's Michael.
Yeah, it was me.
I thought so.
Because I remember when we talked about it, both Gregory and I were worried that would it be okay on broadcast television? Because at that time, for people to take a drink, because there was all that weirdness about, like, you know, you shouldn't be drinking on TV and blah, 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 blah. But it turned out to be a real center point, a really nice end of a show. It was just really nice.
The cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
And I think we would only have had a problem with it if you put them in the car after and had them drive away.
Yeah.
Well, we did do one episode where they were in the car and about
but they weren't driving. They were the passengers, right?
No, they were driving, but there was no booze in the glass. They took the glasses up for cheers, and then they turned it up like that, and it was empty. So we emphasized the fact that they weren't drinking and driving. So
That's
in
why I got
it
past
was a
it.
win-win.
Very clever.
Yeah, but we didn't lose out though because we went for a drink afterwards, so that was okay.
As always, Jackie, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one of the obstacles could have been, but I didn't notice it really happening, was a unique way to get to the haunting, or what do we call it? Did we call it the haunting?
No, but
The rescue, to the rescue. Yeah,
To the
the
rescue.
arrival.
no,
The
hang
arrival.
on, Rhonda, you're talking about the arrival, right? The
Yes, the arrival.
different ways of getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just spontaneously came up with all of those different ways.
Yeah, that's
whether
a lot of ways.
Yeah, like a fire truck, a police car.
I can imagine tossing and turning, going, I don't have a way for season 5, episode 6 for them to get there uniquely.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why I loved it though, because there's a lot of humor in Rescue Mediums, and the humor it's like anything, you know, if you're going into a serious situation and you're a little bit nervous, sometimes you may laugh, even though it's not appropriate to laugh at that point. And Rescue Mediums, the actual, you know, the whole investigation is a real journey of emotions, right from we don't know where we're going, and we have these silly arrivals, which are good fun. They're good fun. So it's good fun at the end, at the beginning, and it's good fun at the end. And the middle bit is where we take our work really, really seriously. And you can tell the difference of that mixture of emotions as we go through. So, and Alison and I have this northern humour, British northern humour that works between the two of us anyway. Also worked with Christine, of course, with this northern humour that is natural. We're natural with each other. You know, we don't have a script. We don't read from a script. That's not what it's about. It is as it is. And so this journey that we take from beginning to end is what makes that show, I think, so special. And I don't think there's been a show before it, and there's no shows that are out there now that have that same sort of balance of things, you know, the humor, you know. So we deserve the drink at the end.
We do.
Oh,
We so do.
absolutely. And that's one thing I loved about it. As I said, it was like a relief to watch Rescue Mediums, even though, you know, we were dealing with real people with real problems that they were dealing with.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, the levity on the beginning and the end makes it, you know, safe to experience it.
Yeah. I think another aspect of it is the research that is so important, that ties the show together. I mean, Edna does such a phenomenal job with the research. So, you know, whatever Alison and I come up with during the investigation, whatever the spirits tell us, whatever story unfolds, Edna's there frantically writing everything down, and then going away and researching it and then bringing it together. So there is a conclusion to what's happening as well, which is, it's like reading a book. You know, you pick it up and you read the beginning, you think, oh gosh, this is interesting, and you get more and more into it, and then the end of it, it's going to be continued, and you're going, what? I want to know what happens in the end, you know. But with Rescue Mediums, you do know what happens in the end, you know, because there is a conclusion, and I think that's also why it's important. It's got a lot of ingredients in it.
Yeah, and that makes it so real as well, you know, the research. Because, you know, Edna will, like, I would say, what would you say, Michael? Like probably about 98% actually finds the people that we've rescued, the real people.
Yes.
You know, so it's
historically, yes.
Job. Yeah, so it's so unique. It was a joy to be a part of, absolutely.
There was a lot of work in the research. Like, it was an incredible amount of work because we had such a tight shooting schedule, as everybody knows. And so the research was really, really condensed and really tight. So, yeah, she was working like 24 hours a day for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and as you guys all said, I think that it really grounded the episode, you know, it put
The
it
what?
in reality. It was the grounding ingredient for the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes, yes, that's it. Yeah.
Definitely.
And as a viewer, I can tell you, I would watch the clock sometimes thinking, how did they get out of this? Jackie's been overshadowed. Alison's been hit on the head. This has to end at some point. And then you go, oh, the reveal. And I'm like, okay. The reveal after the commercial. It's going to be okay. And then they're on swings, you know, and Alison has little booze bottles from the plane. It was great. It was like, no, they're fine.
No,
Ron,
on
what was
Rescue
it like
Media.
to work with the producers, specifically Michael?
What's it like working with Michael? Oh, really? You know, great. Like he really kept me involved, would invite me to set. I think I was even in an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, were you? Was that one of
Yeah.
the early ones or one of the ones that I
I
was
think it was
on?
like season 2 or 3.
Oh, one of the early ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So were you a ghost?
I played a ghost who had I only remember acting like I was having a mental breakdown.
Oh God, I'll have to watch.
And that wasn't even acting.
Oh.
Yeah, he did say I was a natural, and I kept wondering if that was a compliment or not.
You'll have to let us know which one that is, because and it was really strange because I was saying to somebody recently, I need to watch some of the earlier ones. I remember watching some, but I've not seen them all. And it just really interests me to see, you know, sort of from the very beginning and to see how it's sort of progressed and
Well, the show did have a progression curve, and Rhonda was part of that.
It went down.
And it changed from the very first episodes were, I wouldn't say gentle, but they didn't have as much of an edge, I think. And then as we progressed, the show got more of an edge to it. There was more immediacy and urgency about stuff. That's what I recall.
Well, do you think that's because it was new and it would have been new for everybody? I'm sure, like for you, Jackie and Christine, because although it was, you know, we know how it all started and came together. You know, you and Michael but you and Christine had never. It's not acting. None of it is acting, and we just say what we feel and what we sense. But it's, you know, being in front of cameras must have been different, new. I know it certainly was for me. And I remember you having to turn me round certain ways because I'd be back to the camera and everything. I got to what I was doing. But, you know, you learn on the job, so to speak. So that natural progression makes sense. Yeah.
Well, as the camera guys learn too, because when you're going through the rescue, for example, we don't do like take 2 or take 3. It's just one off. And the camera people have to capture things, and they've got to be alert as well. And thank God they all were.
Oh God, they were amazing, just amazing. You know.
Yeah.
And,
you're right.
When we were doing this show, there wasn't a lot of paranormal shows out there, like, and especially one that was so, you know, I'll call it highly produced, like that it had elements in it that weren't just about ghost hunting, that made it more fun, as we've talked about, and the real grounding of research. You know, they're more, I think, you know, done for attempt at scares rather than sincere helping of people.
They'd go in and they'd you know, obviously connect with the ghost, and they'd say throw coins through the air and whatever else that they said and it did, but then they'd leave. Whereas we always wanted to rescue, you know, we always wanted to sort of help the spirit as well as the homeowner, you know, when you're like, and I wonder sometimes whether that riles the spirits up. It has to, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it must. Yeah, and I think that's part of why it's also successful, is because we're about helping people. We're not about, it's not about going in and going, show yourself to me, prove that there, you know, that ghosts exist. That's not what we're about. We're about helping the homeowners to overcome a problem that they've got, which includes helping the spirit who may be
Yeah.
trapped for whatever reason, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's that feeling of helping on every single level. And then at the end, obviously, when we're talking to the homeowners and the relief on their faces and hearing that they've not had any more unexplained activity in the house, we just sit there and think, wow, you know, we've done what we're here to do. So it's amazing.
Yeah, because the homeowners were usually quite surprised about the information that came out from both of you and from the research. And that some of them completely got it and identified with it. And they went, oh, yeah, no, I know that. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating.
And some were links in with their families, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
I mean, that's quite rare, but it was. And, you know, sometimes it was to do with the land and sometimes to do with the home. And then, you know, some of the helpers that we had, which we need, especially when it's a really strong one. And our spirit guides must have been working overtime sometimes. So when we were having a drink, I always had a vision of Jackie's spirit guide, of mine and Edna's and of Michael's, and everybody's going, oh my God. Down in one as well with us.
I love that most about the show is the helping of, and it's funny now that you guys say it, I didn't think about the helping the spirits, but of course we were. That's what we were rescuing. I always felt about the people, the homeowners,
right?
We're helping them, but we were also helping the spirits. But
Sandy has said this in the past as the viewer. You're on that journey. They're on that journey with us as we are living this. The viewer is also on that same journey, and a lot of times the viewer will have a similar situation going on in their own home, or they're experiencing maybe out of body experiences or hearing things, and then we talk about, you know, grounding, how to protect yourself, how to deal with certain situations, and the viewer is going, oh my gosh, we're taking the Scooby-Doo factor out of it, the scary bit, and the reality of it is I can get in control of my own psychic gift here. And so that's something that both Alison and I have experienced with people contacting us to thank us for doing that, for sharing our psychic ability on screen, so that they are able to go, do you know what, that happens to me, or this is happening to me now. And so now I know how to deal with it. So I suppose it's helping on lots of different levels, really, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So apart from the subject matter, and as you said, the spirits had to show up on a production schedule, do you remember any other hurdles that sort of stand out from the experience?
And, you know, the hurdles there weren't very many. Michael would know better than me, because I'm never the one that has to deal with it. I just bring it up. This is a problem. You solve it.
Okay.
That's kind of how it works. You know, the network has all the power and does very little of the grunt work. The production executive, you know what they're going to complain about usually.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you sort of know what they really want, what they want to see. And that's, as the producer, that's what you try to live up to.
And my concern usually was just to make sure that the emotion was there. Like, it wasn't much the content, because the content was only serving, you know, was I taken up by this episode? And if at any point I was bored, that's when I go, I'm bored here.
Yeah. Did that happen a lot, that you were bored? Did it happen very often, Rhonda?
Well, I can't, you know, generally I think that as a production executive, that was one way that I operated, is the first time I'd go through it, that's what I would look for, you know, just looking at it as a raw viewer and trying to, this might be where we call it changing the channel. Where would I decide I wanted to change the channel?
That's right.
And so you look for those dips and see if it can be solved, right? There's a structure to the show that makes it so that shouldn't happen. But, you know, the editors are putting this together as fast as they can.
Oh,
it's tight. So that's what the big team working on it. And I don't get my hands into the shooting or the editing. I can see what they can't see.
Yes.
That's my purpose.
And that was always a very important aspect, wasn't it? And this, I believe this was a very significant part of Rhonda's job, is like she was saying, after 4 minutes, is somebody going to click to another channel? After 7 minutes, are they going to click and go to another channel? And that's never what you wanted. You wanted them to stay with the show. None of us ever wanted the click next something else, because it was no good for anybody.
Yeah. And it can be as simple as, well, maybe put a funnier beat in here instead of the one you have here.
Yeah.
That's more information. Find another way to put the information in and put something that's funny in. So keep it.
Yeah.
And you always want the viewer to come back after a commercial break. So you always try to do like a little bit of a what's it called? Like a
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, yeah.
Yes.
Coming into the commercial. So it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
I want to go back and see it.
I'll come back and watch.
Yeah. It's so well thought of on all levels, really. Yeah.
And it was such a tight turnaround time as well from us filming to broadcast. I think it was something like 6 weeks, wasn't it? A 6-week period for the editing to be done, and then for it to be, have the final say-so ready to go out.
Yeah.
We, as a production company, we had to hire color correctors and stuff like that, and that was beyond our control. But we had to really push them so that we could deliver the stuff, because the network was very. You said you were going to deliver this on March the 4th. We needed March the 4th. And so we had to, March the 5th wasn't good enough.
No. Yeah, it's on a schedule to get ingested too, and that takes time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't just put a tape in and, everybody gets...
That's true. Yeah, it's not like a family viewing thing where it's like, what do you want to watch tonight? Okay, here, click.
Yeah. And then they have to, when they ingest it, they have to put all the commercial time in.
Yeah.
Trailers, make sure it works with the shows that are butted up against it. And, so there's work that the tech guys at the network had to do too.
Yeah.
Or it would go on. So
So
everybody needs it on the schedule. Can't be late.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know.
Which is, I think, one of the most stressful things about television production is everything has to be brilliant in no time. So it's tough.
Yeah.
And, the more money, like there's a famous graph that one side has money, one side has time, and one side has quality. Right? And you can't have all three.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's how it goes. Maybe
making magic, isn't it?
Sure. Tight. But there's kind of no flexibility, because the way most networks work is they just dilly-dally, because tastes change so often that they really want to be of the moment when they're making things and approving things.
Yeah.
Like, you've got your show, your demo reel ready, and the network's had it for 5 months, and they said they love it, they're really interested in it, and you've got the crew all lined up and the talent all lined up, and you're just sitting there waiting, and then they go, okay, we want it, next week, and then you got to go make it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's called the hurry up and wait business.
That's true, because for example, at the very beginning of Rescue Mediums, when we were all talking, and it was Maria, who was the person at W
My boss.
at that time, and we were trying to figure out who would be doing the voiceover, and so I did the voiceover for the original demo, and Maria, whom I knew from theater, said, No, can we audition other people for the voiceover? Because your voice just doesn't sound right. And I went, yeah, sure. Okay. So we did. We auditioned a bunch of different people. And then Maria, we gave the tapes to Maria and she listened to them all. And at the end, she brought us into the office for a meeting. And she said, yeah, I listened to all the audition tapes. No, a lot of them are good, but Michael, I think your voice is the best one. And because I knew her, what I wanted to say was, you could have said that at the beginning, woman, but I didn't, of course. I just said, okay, great.
I think that happens a lot, right? Like, you see all the options, and I think I've been behind that a number of times, asking that we get the usually it was the host,
Yes,
that brought the show together, that often wasn't even on camera, and it's a really hard, because it sets the tone for the show. So I often would ask to see multiple people, to hear multiple people before approving that. I don't think that's unusual at all, but I think that you had the advantage in that, you really knew the show and created it. So your tone of voice, was really the right one. Like, who could imagine it, Rescue Mediums, without Michael's voice? Like,
exactly. I was just thinking the same thing. It couldn't be anyone else, could it? It just really couldn't.
No, it couldn't, because you hit the nail on the head there when you said Michael, being the creator of the show, knew the show. And so he's experiencing what we're experiencing because he's there when we're there. So he's feeling the energy that Alison and I are feeling, he's feeling. And so he's on that journey with us. So it makes a huge difference.
Rhonda, we've mentioned before on this show that the energy would sometimes affect the crew members, as well as Alison, Jackie, Edna, Michael, everybody that we already know. Can you ever remember having an experience, besides being an actor, on one of the episodes that was more paranormal or more energy driven?
I was on set for one rescue, and it was actually kind of by my house where this was. It was, I don't know if you guys remember, it was on Harvard Street, and it was an apartment upstairs. And young guy rented,
Icarus.
And got there. He said to me, "You look like my sister," which was weird to begin with. And then during the whole rescue thing, I just was like, I wouldn't say freaked out, but I was uncomfortable. Like, I kind of, I knew that something was going on, right? Sorry, I can't remember if it was Christine or Alison. I'm pretty sure it was Christine.
It was Christine, I think the episode was about about Icarus, about the picture of Icarus, and the picture had belonged to a lady who had died in a fire or something. And when the young guy his name was William, the young man, and when he started coming out in boils all over his body.
Oh my God.
And it was like his body was just burning. He was coming up like these. So we had to do a rescue. I think there was a lady who'd hung herself in the building as well.
That's right. In the stairwell.
I was just going to say, we sat in the stairwell for hours, and I wanted to get out of the stairwell.
Yes.
Wow.
She'd hung herself in the stairwell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I remember when we were shooting the show, I remember with all the burning and the boils and everything like that. And one of the things that just went through my head is maybe we should just get rid of that picture of Icarus, because that's not doing anybody any good.
Wow.
I've got to watch that. I've written it down. I've got to watch that one, because I bet the energy. I mean, no wonder, Rhonda, you were picking up on something
Yeah.
because the energy in
I
there.
think all were
is
on
so-
that one, right, Michael? I think all of
Yes.
us were a little bit like,
Yeah, the stairwell was really creepy.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Wow.
you sent me a picture a while ago, maybe a couple of years ago, of me on set, visiting set once, and I think it was that rescue.
Mm.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, because that rescue was in town, so it was easy for.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
few blocks from my house. I walked there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's handy.
Luckily, there's
You know-
not too many haunted places around where I live. You guys didn't tell me.
I think we should do a cheers to all the rescues that we've done, to all the people
Yes.
that we helped, and a huge thank you to Rhonda for suggesting all the reenactments so that the viewer can see exactly what's going on in our.
Well, Michael might
lives.
not thank me because he's like, well, I can't put a 3-hour thing on now. I got to edit again.
Okay,
Oh.
yes. Well,
So here
cheers.
we are.
Oh, I
Cheers,
didn't-
everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
There we
Cheers.
go. Cheers.
Cheers.
So
Thank
great
you,
to see you again,
Rhonda.
Jackie and
Nice to meet you,
Alison.
Rhonda.
You too, Sandy.
Thanks, Rhonda. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Always.
Thanks, everybody.
If you enjoyed watching behind the scenes, please like, share and subscribe to veryparanormal.com, the portal for everything paranormal, where you can watch every episode of Behind the Scenes and every episode of Rescue Mediums, plus so much more. And it's absolutely free. You can't get much better than that. Cheers.